every time we're pulling out of the holster and presenting the gun, it is in fact a whole nother chance to fail. Today we're going to start with Chuck Pressburg's no-fail drill. The no-fail drill was originally designed to be shot on a B8 target at 25 yards. Most people don't spend any time training at that distance, which makes this drill difficult, and as well as the B8 target is only going to be recorded as a bullseye around the black or the 5.5-inch circle. Anything in white, you fail the drill. While we go forward talking about failing the drill, it's important to note that this drill should be shot cold from your actual concealed carry system. In that you don't fire any rounds, there's no warm up, you don't get used to the trigger. You approach the drill as if you were actually going to be in an emergency situation and had to make that shot. For today's purposes, I don't have the range to go at 75 feet. I can get to 50, and even at that range, I think most people would find it's a difficult drill. The par time is 3.5 seconds, which is actually longer than most people think they have, and they rush, and it ends up causing them to fail the drill. One of the interesting aspects of this drill in my mind is how you're going fast from your presentation out of the holster to having to decelerate your brain and your finger and try to get off a well-aimed shot. Also critical to this drill, and certainly true at the 75-foot range, is you must know the zero either on your sights or particularly if you're using a red dot. My eyes are not what they once were, so the dot helps me, as well as these glasses actually see the dot and the target. But you're going to find if you don't know your zero or where your bullet actually is going to strike based on where you're aiming, you will also fail this drill. So it requires the shooter know some things and be an engaged carrier to actually pull this off in the prescribed time limit. One of the other things I love about the drill is, yes, it's 10 rounds, but it's 10 rounds, 1 round at a time. Every time we're pulling out of the holster and presenting the gun, it is in fact a whole nother chance to fail. There isn't 80% or 90%. It is truly 10 reps, 1 rep at a time. You're either in the black and under the time or you're not. You can in fact go over the 3.5 second time limit 1 time only. I'm going to call out the times allowed for Matt, and hopefully we can come up with the average, and you're going to find that I'm still rushing a bit is usually my tendency. The main focus of this drill for the shooter and the skills you're going to need to improve on to pass are: 1, an efficient garment clear, as well as an efficient presentation of the weapon onto the target, and critically, whether or not you can get your sights aligned enough or your dot on the correct spot to still manipulate the trigger without disrupting the sights. That's always the challenge for the shooter, is can you get the gun to go off without disruption of the sights? In most times, working at a closer distance, that disruption still will allow you to record a hit. But at distance on a small target, everything is magnified to the point where you're going to find out really quickly whether or not you're manipulating the trigger efficiently. So today, as we mentioned, we're going to start with Chuck Pressburg's no-fail drill. This is, of course, modified because I'm working at a shorter distance. The important thing to keep in mind about the no-fail drill, however, is, as the name suggests, you're either going to place all of your shots in the black bullseye. Anything that goes outside of the black, you fail the drill for that day. The par time standard is 3.5 seconds from your concealment system, and you are allowed to go over the time 1 time. Now, obviously, this drill is a lot more difficult at the 75-foot range, but I also think that for a lot of people, 50 feet is not only challenging, but a shot they may or may not be comfortable with taking. But if you're carrying your weapon out in public, you should strive to be comfortable at that distance. So hopefully this will go well, and Chuck's a big believer in this, and so am I. You shouldn't shoot the drill with any practice, which means you should in fact shoot the drill cold. I haven't fired my gun at any point today. And as we train on any drill, keep in mind the first shot is the one that's the most difficult to make, and we must be focused and prepared for. So let's see how it goes. This is a 10-round, no-fail drill. .333, take the pause. .306. .238, a little fast on that one. .243. .319. .295. .258, a little fast there again. .242, need to slow down. .280, a little better. .283. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One of them, little herky-jerky on the trigger. I said the times out loud. When we actually put the video out, we'll try to get an average time. One would expect doing this drill, because it's not at the required distance, that you would in fact be able to move a little faster. While you're doing the drill, if you want to do sort of a deep dive on it, one of the ways that you make mistakes is not actually counting how much time has elapsed. You'll hear people count some goofy, maybe 1 Chicago or 1 Mississippi, whatever it is. You always have a tendency to rush this drill, and it can be very, very challenging to stop yourself from doing that when you have to have quick presentation, but a slow, refined shot. And being a left-handed shooter, you can tell I snatched the trigger here, and at 25 yards, it might likely be out. So the short distance saved me, but I think if you try this drill at any distance, you're going to find it's difficult, it's challenging, and it has real significance out on the street. So related to the self-count, or actually using up the 3.5 seconds, what actually happens when you're doing this drill is your Western mind, and Masad Ayub talks about this a lot, as soon as you see the dot or your sight on the bullseye, you have now. Well, that doesn't work at a great distance. You have to slow that trigger press down, find the wall, and press it smoothly and evenly to the rear so the gun doesn't jerk. In fact, I actually train this drill sometimes with an unknown amount of live rounds and snap caps, so I can actually see what's going on with the trigger stroke, because if your stroke isn't smooth and even, this is never going to work out for you.